how big the lead is?
Look, obviously, we need to check his fitness and assess where he is, because he's just come off COVID and he hasn't played much cricket. He's obviously a big player for us, he balances the team, but we need to see how he is tomorrow. I think he hasn't batted, he hasn't bowled for the last 2-3 weeks, so definitely just come into a test match straight off, so we'll first have a look and see how he is tomorrow, because it's 5 days of cricket and it's hot and there's all sorts of things to consider, so we'll assess how he is tomorrow.
The way batting collapse in South Africa, do you think any mental bearing will come here?
No, I don't think so. Like I think Jamie has said previously, there was some really good stuff in South Africa. Obviously the last 2 innings is not very good, but conditions were really tough for the guys to bat in. We found every time we were batting the last couple of overs of the day, or when light wasn't good, and South Africa had a fantastic spin attack. They bowled really well in conditions that helped them. So I don't think that'll have much bearing on this series. It's nearly a month ago now, so time we've moved on.
Russell, there's rain around. There was rain today morning. So if Saqib plays, is there any chance Bangladesh is going to play 3 pacers?
We need to look at the wicket. We need to look at the conditions the day before. Obviously the selectors will all sit down in the next day or so and come up with what's best, but it is a possibility. But we first need to see what the conditions are like. We know the wicket might offer something for the first hour or 2, but then becomes really hard work for fast bowling, so we need to take all those factors into consideration.
Coach, how the bowling attack is right now, because there's no Taskin and there is a bit of concern in that regard. Because are you confident that they can
Look, definitely. I was just said to the bowlers this morning that in 3 test matches, I think we got 30 in 2 test matches in South Africa, got 36 wickets. Bowled South Africa out twice. First innings, second innings in Durban, bowled them out in Port Elizabeth, and I think got 6 wickets in the second innings. And I don't think Bangladesh has done that before, where they've got that many wickets. So, yeah, we're confident we can get 20 wickets. We do need to have 5 bowling options. That's obvious. We've been short in that particular department when Saqib doesn't play. Having someone who can bowl those 12, 13 overs a day, which is so important. Because with 4 bowlers it is very difficult, particularly on wickets that aren't going to help you.
So obviously, say South Africa has been like a month ago, so probably doesn't have any bearing. But these situations where you have to bat the last 40 minutes, or playing for light, and all those situations, Tamim said in the interview that these are things we'll have to face in every test match. So do you separately address these issues, or do you address it before that that incident?
Look, I think with the way Test cricket's moved on, 2 years ago there's no way we would have played under those conditions with the light being that dark. But with Test cricket wanting to play as much as you possibly can, with which you understand, we've got to be willing to face that, and you can't be. I think sometimes you're playing because you're thinking you're going to come off the next over or come off the next over, and then you stop playing. You've got to expect to play for the entire day because of lights coming on, and umpires keeping out there for as long as possible. So that's a big change in mindset. You can't just be playing to get to the end of the over and get to the end of bad light. You've got to play as if you're playing till close of play, and I think that's a mental shift you need to make. I don't think it's anything technically or tactically. It's just a mindset that's got to change, and you've got to continue to look to score. You can't just be blocking out those last. You're thinking it's 3 overs, but it might be 16 overs, because as soon as that happens, you find yourself under pressure. And maybe we did a bit of that, particularly in the first test match in Durban, when Shanta was batting with Joy. We sort of just stopped playing, and then Mominal stopped playing, and then we lost a few wickets. We're going to play in dark conditions because there are lights at stadiums, and the laws of the game are changing to try and make sure you play as much as you can.
Do you really think that strength-wise this Bangladesh team can beat Sri Lanka?
Absolutely, and I've said previously that in the last 6 or 7 test series, as we think back, against Pakistan, we were 200 ahead, 6 down, then we lost wickets. Against the West Indies, we probably should have won that test match. They chased down 395. We beat New Zealand in the first test match. We played 4 really good days of cricket in South Africa in the first test match. The challenge is to sustain that in the second test match. So I definitely think we've got the ability to beat any side if we play really well for the full 5 days, not for 4 days. And that's the shift we've got to try and make.
So let's say now the South African spinner, how fantastic they were. Bangladesh has been struggling in the later spin of play, be it Pravin Jayawardene or Keshav Maharaj. Again, here Pravin Jayawardene and Last Timber, they are very good later spinners. So any area of concern or how much the boys are prepared for the later spin?
No areas of concern. It's all about sticking to your game plan. I think the important thing is trying to get singles and get off strike. Maybe we're just blocking and looking for the 4 ball a bit much, and we need to make sure that we try and rotate strike a little bit better and get off strike a little bit easier. Where that means using a paddle, where that means using your feet, where that means going deep in your crease is different for every single player. But I think the important thing is to try and get off strike and find ways of getting singles.
But these guys play left arm spin from the age level. So why do you think they are struggling against it?
Look, I think because the wickets don't bounce as much in Bangladesh, I think they don't struggle with left arm spin. They maybe struggle with a bit of extra bounce that spinners away from Bangladesh get, because generally the wickets stay down in Bangladesh. The LBW bowls, whereas in foreign conditions the ball spins and you maybe get bat pads and you get caught at slip, and that's the difference. It's just staying a bit more on top of the bounce than they used to.
Yes.
One of the things, good cricketing home and abroad, but 1 or 2 sessions cost Bangladesh marks. Is this the area of concern?
No, definitely. When we have a bad session, we have a really bad session. If we have a bad session, we lose 6 or 7 wickets. And it's something we're speaking about and something we're trying to address, trying to stay calm in the change room, trying to make sure the batsmen stop the rot if something does go bad. And it's definitely something we speak about all the time. Look, it's part of cricket, but we have to make sure that we stop. If we lose 1 or 2 wickets, we can't lose 5. And that's the challenge, is to make sure that we stop the rot when it does set in.
Shakib is really a big player. We have heard many times that if Shakib wants to play, he will be in the team. Both President said it earlier. After getting COVID negative, if he is 60 or 70% fit, will you give your opinion to take him in the best 11?
Yes, it's very tricky. It's Test match cricket is hard, and to not have played for a while and not have practiced for a while, to just come straight in after. I've had COVID and I know I've had it badly, and your energy is not quite the same, and it's not a T20 or 50 over that's done in 6 hours. It's something that's going to happen for 5 days. So these are things we need to take into account, and we need, of course, we want him to play. He's one of the best cricketers that's ever played, but we need to make sure that he gives himself the best chance to perform and is able to fulfill the role that we need him to fulfill, and that is to bowl at least 15 overs a day, batting the top 6 or 7, and be able to bat for 3 or 4 hours. And that's important because physically, coming back from COVID, I've been there, not easy straight away, and these are things you need to assess.
So you want full fit Shakib?
Excuse me?
So you want a full fit Shakib in your best 11?
End of the day, anybody wants a full fit Shakib in your first 11. Very difficult to pick a player if he's 50 or 60% fit. You've got to be fully fit to give the player the best chance to perform as well.
Russell, there's been a lot of talk about Mushfiq playing the reverse sweep and not really connecting with it, getting out at that happened in South Africa once. Is that something that you've spoken to him about, or is that something that he wants to drop from the team?
No, I don't think it's. I suppose if you say opening batsman getting out cover driving, you've got to stop cover driving, or playing through mid wicket, getting out LBW. If it's a shot that you're confident in and believe in, and you know it's a good option, there's nothing wrong with playing it. I think the timing of playing the shot's the important thing, is when you play the shot, and why you're playing the shot. If it's to manipulate the field, he's a fantastic reverse sweeper. It's got him a lot of runs in the past. That's a shot he's really confident in. It's just the timing of when he's going to play the shot that's the important thing. Like a cover drive, it's a beautiful shot to play, but if you're a left-hand batter and you cover driving in the first 20, 30 balls you face, you're going to be under pressure. If you cover driving once you've got to 50 or 60, then it's okay. So it's just when you play the shot.
The last two questions.
Coach, normally cheater move wicket favors the batsman. Is it a great chance for the batters to get back their confidence?
We hope so. It looks a good wicket. There's a little bit of grass and a little bit green at the moment, but it looks a good wicket. We're playing in the one-day series against Afghanistan. You could see the first hour and a half, the ball did something, but then got really good for batting on. And look, the guys have batted well here in the past. So guys will come in here confident knowing that they can get big scores in Chittagong because it's probably the best wicket in Bangladesh to bat on.
Last question.
Coach, if Shakib doesn't play, then there will be one less bowling option. So will the team consider a proper batsman at number 7 or someone who can bowl?
No, I think we need to consider someone that can bowl, and it's a big challenge for us because you think of the players that have played, like Yasser Ravi has played some really good innings for us. But we need to find somebody that can bowl 10 to 15 overs, whether that's Mominal, I'm not sure he's confident enough to bowl 10, 15 overs. Shanto's bowling's not quite there to bowl 6, 7 overs a day. So we need to try, like I've said for the last 2 years, and all teams are looking for that number 6, number 7 that can bat in the top 6 and bowl 10, 15 overs a game. And the teams that have got that guy are the well-balanced teams that can bowl teams out consistently, and we're still trying to find that person when Shakib's not there. When Shakib's there, easy, but he hasn't been there.